So let's be honest about some stuff, eh? I have been a professional photographer, some of you will know this, since 2019. So we've just gone past the 5th anniversary of me quitting my middle management corporate career and becoming a full-time photographer. That was in 2019. It wasn't until 2022 that I realised I was nothing more than an average photographer. Now, I've said on this channel many times before, being a professional photographer means nothing more than having the ability to make money out of photography. And somehow I managed to make a fairly decent living between that time period of 2019 and 2022 as an average photographer. There's nothing wrong in being average. Average means that you are in the 40 to 60 percentile of something. So average will generally mean that a low level of average, you're still better than 40% of other people pursuing the same pursuit. And when you come from a beginner, novice, with no real knowledge of anything, and you attain average, that's no bad thing. That's a good thing. That's a huge step. But it's for those of us who start to believe that we are above average, very much like I did. Definitely found myself in this situation. The realisation that you are nothing but average can come as a huge surprise. You're on this journey as a beginner photographer where you learn so much so quickly. It's a huge climb and you start to have all this education and the people around you haven't got it. The people who look at your snaps or whatnot go, wow, that's amazing. And so you buy into it because the level where you were before at rock bottom, the small step that you've took since then has massively improved your photography. And this is often referred to as the Dunning-Kruger effect. And in fact, it is the Dunning-Kruger effect. I don't want to talk about the Dunning-Kruger effect because by talking about the Dunning-Kruger effect, you prove the Dunning-Kruger effect because with very little information actually about it, talking about it as if I know about it proves it. But that is part of it, is having a specific task and thinking that you are far better than you are because you've got limited knowledge in it. And I definitely had that. And it isn't this one thing that only happens. It happens throughout as you go along. I fell foul to the Dunning-Kruger effect on several occasions. And I put myself through a little bit of critique. I spoke to people who were definitely further along in the industry than I was and got some feedback back. And then I had to sit back, take stock, listen to it, and ultimately agree. Because the things that they said to me, the assessments of my photographs were right, absolutely right. And as depressing as that was, I just had to accept it. Otherwise, I was never going to move past that point. So what does average look like? Well, average photographer knows the exposure triangle, can get good exposure independently, understands depth of field, can do basic technical tasks like high dynamic range, has consistency to the photographs, and a good level of post-processing skills. That's average. If you can't do any of that stuff, then I'm afraid to be the bearer of bad news, but you're below average. I should throw into that as well, knowing your way around the camera. If you struggle to find settings on your camera, then you're not at the level of average. You're below average. Understanding your tool of work is a basic necessity of calling yourself average. And if you're missing one or two of those things, then you need to get to work on them because they're the things that are going to drag you up to an average level. And average is good. Not wrong with average for most photographers. Average is the top of the hill. Average is where they're going to get to and where they're going to sit. It is the peak of average, and they'll be absolutely happy with that. A lot of photographers will spend a lifetime trying to get to the peak of average and never quite make it, put the camera down long before they ever reach that point. An average photographer has mastered the foundational skills of photography. And actually, if you look around YouTube, I'd suggest that that's probably the learning level here on YouTube. Most people are talking about skills that get photographers to average at best. Much fewer channels are talking about the stuff that is moving photographers beyond average, because to move beyond average, you have to let go of the how. You have to let go of the right and wrong of photography, that do it this way, this is the best lens, this is the best camera, the gear heavy talk, the technical heavy talk, all of those bits. If you know anything about this channel, you know that the tagline to it has been for quite a while: master the technical so you can free the creative. Because you see, freeing the creative is the next bit. Freeing the creative to go, why? Why am I taking this photograph? And why is such an important question in photography? Why gives you the answer to where you sit as a photographer. Creativity is freeing your mind from these constraints, these rules, these regulations that we learn as a beginner, and go, right, how do I manipulate those rules? How do I manipulate the technicals so I can deliver what I want through my camera, what I want to show through my camera? How do I capture the emotion of a moment instead of just capturing things happening? And that's what I mean when I say master the technicals. Not so you can be a technical photographer, but it is so you can take those technicals, shove them to the back of your mind because you know them now. And now free your mind to be creative and tell the stories that you want to tell the way that you want to tell them. Being honest with myself, accepting the critique that I was given, realizing that my photographs lacked emotion, lacked mood, lacked feeling, that they were a technical exercise and that I was button pressing rather than capturing a feeling that I had as the photographer, as the onlooker, or the feeling of the subject, or a feeling that brought back a memory, made me realise that I was average at best. I've been Dave, this has been Let's Click Photography, and I'll see you guys on the next one pretty damn soon. Bye.